I'm going to call to order the Port of Siuslaw Commission meeting for May 17th, 2017 at 7 p.m. First item will be public comment. You'll be limited to 15 minutes, 5 minutes per speaker. Do we have any?
Yes, we have one speaker tonight, and it's Gordon Owen.
Okay, Gordon?
Hello again. I gave you guys presented you guys with an invoice of how I felt that I should have been charged.
Okay.
I guess I don't know if I need to really go into it too much. I
haven't
think
had a chance to study it at all to see what's in it, so
you want to look at it first and then let me.
I won't have time to do it tonight.
Okay.
But I will, by next meeting, we'll have a response for you.
Okay. I guess, I came up with a bill, and one of the things I came up with was no lawyer's fees. And the reason why I put the no lawyer's fees in there was because, first of all, I feel that the lien that was filed against my boat was done illegally in the first place. It did go through, but that was because I missed the court date to contest it. Because it was filed one day after my receipt says balance paid and due. So I don't know when we start filing liens a day after someone's slip is their, I could have came down and made my payment that day, and it was filed that, hey, you're late. And so there's that. And then when we had the special meeting, the port manager was actually lying to the attorney that we're talking to. So I really don't feel comfortable or okay with paying for someone that's filing illegal liens and then also lying to an attorney that we're paying for. So I'm just not interested in doing that. The rest of it's pretty much well spelled out. I'm okay with just getting paid back what I'm getting paid back, what I put in there. If for some reason you guys don't feel like that's okay, then if I get paid back what I put in the invoice, we're done. But if I don't get that paid back, then I don't feel like I've been properly compensated, and then this thing will just continue on. I know that it's like, well, this works out really good for you. You don't have to pay for lawyer's fees, and then you just paid what you thought you were supposed to pay. And I would have to say that, no, my name's been slandered, he never pays his slip fees on time, just a bunch of different stuff. I actually had talked to a number of different people that when they were trying to purchase the boat. I mean, people in Alaska to Hawaii, Colorado was interested in the boat. And some of the stories I heard of what the port manager was saying about me was, well, I won't go into them, but I've been in contact with those people because they were interested in buying the boat and or maybe being a partner. So if it's necessary to talk to those guys and find out some of the stories that were being told about me, we could do that. And then the other thing is that just the whole thing about just being a little bit late in the first place. To be honest with you guys, this is a very small community, and a lot more people have actually heard and know about this than what I actually originally thought. A bunch of my friends come up to me and they joke about it, and it's like, okay, that's whatever, that's funny. But I don't know that isn't going to hurt me business-wise in this community. So there's the other thing, and then the last thing is that I was able to borrow a little bit of money from family, but I had to take out an incredibly high interest loan to come up with the rest of the money. So I haven't come out of this unharmed. I just want you guys to be clear about that. And then I guess the only other thing I could probably really add to any of this is part of the reason why my boat was probably poorly kept. Apparently, it was the worst one in the marina. I don't know about that, but anyway, that's what it was portrayed as. And yes, I was a few days late with my lease. That's what started this whole thing. I was doing community service for this community. I was the manager of the Hope Club, and I didn't take that. I wasn't like, hey, pick me. George Hoover, who had been running the club, had actually gotten incredibly sick and been in intensive care twice that year, and there wasn't anyone else that was willing to step up and take over, and that could do it, and so or was willing to do it, and I did. And what happened was George, a lot of people had stayed in there because George they didn't want to let him down because they knew he was sick, and well, when he stepped down, a few other people stepped down too, and it left me holding the bag, trying to keep this thing going. And this is a drug alcohol treatment program that's free to the community. Anyone who wants to go to it. It's a nonprofit, and it's solely held together by donations. So anyway, I spent a lot of my time just trying to keep that thing going. And so, when I'm providing, trying to do something for the community, I got the port manager here who's like smearing my name and trying to extort me out of money. So I don't really appreciate that. I tried to do what I can for this community, and to be treated like this, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, your time's up, Gordon.
I'm done.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 3, approval of minutes by consent. Commissioners, we have a chance to read the minutes, I'm sure.
I'm okay.
Okay, any issues? Hearing none, we will move on to the financial statements, and we'll approve them after some explanations by Dana McClure.
Well, good evening, commissioners, and happy roadie days. It is here, and the weather is turning nice. It's wonderful.
Supposed to.
All right, so bills paid in April were in the amount of $51,498.25. The balance sheet has been corrected. And I really don't have anything more to say on that report. Regarding the profit and loss for the general fund, income is tracking pretty well as projected, and so are expenses. You will notice that in personnel services, there was only 1 payroll in April, and last month I told you there was 3 payrolls in March. I don't have anything else to say on the general fund, but I'm available for questions if anyone has any.
Under current levied taxes,
Income?
yes, 4510. In April, we received $1,045. Prior to that, in March, $7,838. That's like what, every 2 months we get a larger turnover?
That's what comes from Lane County.
No, I'm asking you though, is that a sequence that happens? Do we get paid a larger amount every 2 months?
It really varies.
What are you estimating that our taxes received between now and the end of June would be?
Probably not much. I estimated 284,000 for the year, and we're at a little over 284,000.
No, you estimated 280,000 for the year.
Oh, sorry, yes, you're right.
We've already received more than that. How would that be possible?
I guess I under budgeted.
Next month, would you, or between now and then, could you let me know what you think the estimated taxes that will be collected between May and June, or in May and June? Could you get that information to me,
Yes.
please?
other questions? The financials?
No, not from me.
Really nothing to say on the capital maintenance fund. We did have one expenditure of $2,100 for the boardwalk fire system. There was a repair done that there was a broken line that needed to be repaired. And occupancy numbers still down a little bit towards the as of the end of April, but a lot of that is due to the wonderful weather we've had this winter.
The weather will help, yes.
Hoping that will change for our last 2 months.
Anybody have anything else? Everybody ready to approve by consent, I presume? Okay, we will approve the financials by consent. Item number 5, discuss changing public speaker opportunities on the agenda. Having gone to many public meetings in my lifetime, most all the meetings have a period of public comment, 15 minutes or so before the meeting. For some reason, in the not too far past, we added another public comment meeting at the end of our meetings. And we are finding that very uncomfortable because we hear the same comments and concerns after the meeting as we've already heard before the meeting. And so we would like to eliminate the public comment after the meetings. Commissioners?
Well, I'm not sure that we need to have it completely gone. I mean, it could be that, you know, we wouldn't accept any more comments on the thing that was before, because sometimes after a meeting and discussion, there is an or should be an opportunity for an input if someone has a question about a particular item that came up. So cutting it completely off might not be a good idea.
I know from my own personal experience, when I've sat in that side of it, you can sit there and just want to bite your tongue and scream and holler, and then there's no opportunity to say anything, and then the meeting's over. I think if we qualify, maybe it has to be new business, or,
Right,
you know, I mean, there's,
something that happened during the meeting.
Well, why don't we do away with public comment in the beginning and just have it at the end? What would be wrong with that?
It doesn't hurt to have twice.
I agree with Nancy, it was my idea to have the twice. I mean,
It's only a few minutes, as long as it's not allowed to run on for an hour.
Well, I think if somebody has already spoken the first time, maybe at the end of the meeting, they shouldn't be allowed to give it to somebody else.
Unless they have a different type of comment.
Yeah, I think the reason, isn't, one of the reasons we did that in the beginning was because things occurred during the meeting.
Yes.
You know, after the first comment, things occurred during the meeting that we didn't, or the patrons in the audience didn't have an opportunity to address something new that we discussed.
Or we had an opportunity to answer something that was
Yes.
brought up.
Right. So I don't know, I think that it's probably, you know, I agree, as long as we don't go back over dead ground, something that's already, or somebody's already, I mean, it's, yeah, as long as we just don't go back over the same thing that's already been discussed in terms of, you know, somebody speaking in the beginning.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to deny anybody an opportunity to speak to us at any time.
I agree.
By any means.
I think every opportunity we can give the public to voice
But I just
their
don't want,
opinion.
there's no sense in telling us the same thing a half an hour ago, and then a half an hour later tell us again.
Yeah.
But anytime there's something new that comes up during the meeting, somebody's out there that, you know, they hear something, they'd like to respond, they don't think's quite right, or would like to set us straight, or whatever, comment on it.
And how about the discretion of the chair to cut it off if it turns into the same type of thing?
I think that I think we should leave it.
Yeah, I believe
as I'm
you.
hearing that,
Yeah.
but it was really up to the chairman, whoever that might be,
Sure.
to control that it is to the subject, or it answers some of the questions that came up during the meeting. So
Right.
I'll take the point of that. Okay, we're leaving that as is. Now, item number 6, we're gonna hear health insurance presentation from the Murphys, from Coast Insurance. Gene Murphy, I guess.
You get me for the workers' comp part of it.
Okay,
John's gonna do the health insurance.
okay.
So yes, I'm Jean Murphy from Coast Insurance. The workers' comp is going to renew July 1, and there is a significant increase in premium. And so we were asked to come and explain to the commissioners what that is all about. One of the factors of work comp is what they call an experience mod. It's a modification factor. The experience mod is calculated by a formula that is set at a national level. It's not something that is individual to each group. So the formula includes an average of claims that would be made for your classification codes, average payrolls, that type of thing, how many claims you actually had versus what the national average is, that type of thing. Your experience mod for the 16-17 policy year was 0.95, which meant you were actually getting a 5% credit after they took the rate times your payroll for each of the class codes. You were then getting a 5% credit. The 16-17 mod is going to be 1.53. So you are actually going to be surcharged 53% over the standard premium. When we were asked for an estimate for your budget, I gave the estimate of $12,000. I still do not have the firm numbers because Special Districts has not yet provided us that information. I do have the rates. I do have the estimated payroll from the port. What I do not have is what your contribution credit is going to be, and some of those things that are not made privy to the insurance agents. But it does appear that your premium is going to be somewhere between $9,800 a year and $10,300. And yes, that is less than what I told them to budget for, but it is significantly more than what you had at the expiring.
So it was 6,000, say, last year.
You were just over 6,900 last year, and I would say at this point, 10,003 is what you're looking at for this year.
Why is that with fewer employees?
The experience mod looks at the 3 previous policy years. So this year's mod is being rated on the 13-14 year, the 14-15, and the 15-16 year. You had a large claim in the 15-16 year. There was a claim that resulted in the actual claim paid out was 37,000 and change. It is capped, each claim is capped at 16,000, so you're not really getting charged for the full, but you are getting charged for a $16,000 claim. And with your payroll, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot compared to what your payroll was. So, expected for the port, based on the class codes, based on your payroll amounts, Expected losses were 4,473. Had you had 4,473 in claims, your mod would have been 0. Or excuse me, it would have been 1. So you wouldn't have had a credit or a surcharge. Your actual accountable losses were 18,790 or 759 for those 3 policy years. So you're over 4 times what they would have expected to see on an average for your organization. So
Were
they
those
are.
numerous charges?
Pardon?
Were those numerous claims?
Yes, there were 2 small claims in the 13-14 year. There were no claims in the 14-15, and there were 2 claims in the 15-16. One very small, one was $39, very small claim. The other one was the knee injury for the 38. Yeah, which again was capped at 16. So, glad to give you that good news.
Okay.
There's no recourse, we can't petition anybody, ask for,
John and I have both talked to special districts about this situation. And for this year, no, there is going to be, again, this experience mod is not set by special districts. This is a formula that every work comp policy follows. And so at this time, there's nothing they can do. Now, we did have a conversation, and what they're going to do is next year, so far the 16-17 year is claim free. And so for 2018 policy year, you've got no claims in 14, you've got this one big claim in 16. If we can have no claims, you have the small, no claims in 14, the big claim in 15, so far no claims in 16. So what they then do is they look at it and they say, we had a large claim, it's what they call shock value. And they have said, if we finish clean this year, your mod will be relieved next year. Not saying it will go back down to a 0.95, but it will be relieved. Right,
So our policy period ends June 30th,
it does,
so we have a month and a half roughly
right,
to stay so-called
right. So
accident-free.
pad
However-
everybody so they don't bump into anything.
So what happens then to our mod if the next policy period, July, say August 15th, we have a $10,000 claim? Will we still have the opportunity to enjoy a reduction in our mod rate?
You will, because if you have a claim in the 17-18 policy period,
Mhm.
that claim won't actually hit your mod until the 18-19,
Okay.
because it's gotta be a full year in order to fall into consideration for the mod. So, yeah. That's why unfortunately this clean year is not helping you. The one that we're ending on, it's not helping you.
Don't we get insurance from special districts?
Yes.
Or- So do we buy workman's comp from special districts, or do we
Yes,
buy
they're-
it through
They're the
post
ones who handle
insurance?
this claim.
Correct. Special districts is your work comp carrier.
Okay,
We were asked to go out to SAFE, and
okay,
SAFE does not do volunteer coverage. So in other words, the board members would not be able to be covered,
okay.
and your camp host would not, so I didn't even bother to get an estimate from them
Right.
or a quote from them. We did go to Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual will not look at you because of the 1.53 mod.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is,
It's not so much a claim, it's the lost time. Is that true? I mean, if we have an injured employee and if we can find a position for him, sitting in the office, doing paperwork, something they're capable of doing, would that reduce in the future?
it is taking into consideration the medical expenses
It's all
and
about the money.
It is. It's all about the money.
all
So
lost
it's the
time.
medical expenses, the wages paid, and if it's considered to be a disabling claim, if they pay a settlement out on that, then it is all a cost of the claim. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
No other questions? Okay.
Yeah, we'd like to see John now. Thank you, John.
Okay, first I'll explain to you why I've got handwriting all over this form. Special districts, they produce these documents in early January. They release them to the agents on March 10th. They go into effect on July 1, 2017. So you see up on the census count, they originally had 6 employee only. I crossed that out and wrote 5 because you had the death of one of your employees and they were included in the original estimate. So you have 6 right now total employees, 5 employee only rate, 1 employee plus spouse. So down on the right hand there in the first red number, the 3,846.64, that is your monthly rate just for the medical portion for 5 employees and 1 employee and spouse. The next red number down, the 347.22, is a monthly charge for your dental plan that the group has. So starting July 1 of 2017, your monthly premium will be $4,193.66. In blue below that is your current rate you're paying now for 5 employee only and 1 employee and spouse. For medical, you're paying $35.94.98 and $321.52 for the dental. Current monthly premium is $3,916.50. All of that washes out for a 7% increase on the medical. Embedded in the medical is vision coverage. Now, if you unclip these, the second page of the top document is the life portion. You have $10,000 of life coverage on each employee that runs $2.15 a month. Then on the next group that is stapled together in this packet is the medical plan if you wanted to see what plan they have. And, you know, it highlights they have a $2,000 deductible per individual, $4,000 per family. Max out of pocket if they have a major event, have to go to the hospital. In network, the most they would pay is $5,000 out of pocket. Then the plan would pay 100% after that. Next page there on page 2's primary care visit is $35 to go to a primary care physician. $35 for a specialist, and other practitioners such as acupuncture, spinal manipulations is also $35. Preventive care such as physicals, mammogram is no charge. If you have diagnostic x-rays, blood work, the employee pays 30% of the charge. Same with imaging and MRI. And you go back to drugs, there's a $10 copay for generic, $30 copay preferred brands, and $50 for non-preferred. Then the next page back is the vision summary. that is embedded into the medical. And I believe there is a $1,500 maximum per year on this. And a routine eye exam to an approved eye doctor in plan is $35. Then they will pay for up to $250 for hardware for glasses and frames. The next in the packet is the Delta Dental. And they have Plan 1, the Constant Dental Plan, which is a benefit maximum of $1,500 with a $25 deductible per individual. It goes to tell what they have. And that's pretty much the nuts of it. You're getting a 7% increase, which is one of the better ones that I've had this year. I did go out, I told Stephen and Dina I would go out for quotes to other carriers. I went to Pacific Source, they were quite a bit more money. I went to Moda, they were a lot more money. And Regents would not allow me to quote direct because you're with Regents through special districts. So if that's all agreeable to you, what I need from the commissioners tonight is a resolution or a motion, however you guys take care of business, to approve this renewal for the health insurance. And then I just need to get a signature on a form from whoever the board designates. It can be Mr. Caputo, it can be Stephen, or it can be Dina as a district representative. And then we will get it sent in for renewal on July 1.
Okay.
Motion good enough?
Yes, I would entertain a motion from somebody.
I move that we approve the insurance package presented by the insurance agent this evening.
I hear a second,
I'll second that.
seconded by David. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is okay with the commissioners if I come down tomorrow or later tonight, have Dina sign this
I'll
form?
be happy to sign the form.
Okay,
That means I go to jail or something.
with me, we both go together, Ron.
Okay. Sign it right now, if you have it right there. You can type that on and date it, if you want me to date it. You date it 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5, okay.
I think he's a doctor.
I think so.
I have lost it.
You're a doctor. You're right, just like a doctor.
Okay.
Only,
That good, huh?
only he can read it.
Yes.
Okay, item number 7, resolution 5-17-78, appropriations transfer.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Any of the rest?
All right, we still have a fair amount of work to do in the campground and in the facility. We're asking for additional money to come from contingency to continue working on our landscaping projects. Mows hasn't had a lot of attention. We want to put some money into Mows. The gangway needs work. The front needs to be painted and just needs some attention. We need to do some parking lot restriping, both in Mows and in the 1499 lot that hasn't been done in quite some time. And finally, we need the Coast Guard shed, the auxiliary shed out by the boat launch, is in desperate need of attention. You can actually pull off the planks and watch the termites roll around. On that, we'll have Coast Guard participation, at least in terms of labor, to get the repairs or renovation or replacement done on that. We currently have $61,000 remaining in the contingency account to last us until the end of the fiscal year, and we are asking for another $20,000 transferred out of that into the 5700 account, maintenance and materials and facilities, materials and services, and that will leave a balance in the contingency of $41,000.
in this new budget, Stephen, that we prepared and approved this
Mhm.
evening, have we provided for these kinds of events for the 17-18 year? Because this isn't, you know, the striping is not, it's not, doesn't have to happen tomorrow or before June 30th. I'm just so adamantly against contingency transfers for normal maintenance and those types of things, that we ought to have the ability to identify with some sort of at least a 2-year plan in terms of our capital improvements or capital maintenance or grounds maintenance and that type of thing. In the new budget, do we have that?
Well, we do have that on the larger items. You recall that there was spending to a big project to spend on Mo's. We set aside 50 grand for update to Mo's. We also set aside, I forget the exact amount of money for the fuel line. So the bigger, and I think there was one other item in the budget. So the bigger items do get set aside, and our line item, or in the coming year's budget, are line item events. Things like this, we just figure they're going to come out of contingency. Things change. We came back. Remember, you recall in March we asked for money. Some of that money got diverted into unanticipated repairs on the pump outs, the backflows. So,
Well, with our staff, with our maintenance staff that we have, it just, I guess what I'm looking forward in the future to is you and our staff getting together and doing a survey of our grounds, because I just, you know, that's why we bring this budget committee together, is to collectively together, is to approve a budget. And sometimes, I know it's not the case, and I'm making a mockery of it to some degree, but sometimes it feels like we should have our resources and then one line that says contingency, just transfer whatever out for unanticipated. We could anticipate the rebuilding of that building. We could anticipate the striping. We can anticipate those kinds of things.
right, and so Dina, Jason, and Tracy spent a considerable amount of time going through all of the port's assets in this past year,
Mm-hmm.
and sorting out and going back and forth between themselves to prioritize which projects needed attention this coming year. And so what they came up with fuel dock and Mo's and the other project I'm blanking on, and those were listed as the priority. Those are what they came up with, given the budget, as the priority items. The little stuff, we know it's going to be there. If the commission wants to,
Does this come out of facilities?
It comes out of facilities.
Well, then if that's the case, then in the future, then I think we need to take that facilities and move it up.
That's where I was going.
Because
That's
I'm just
the
getting
option.
beat up every time it feels like we're turning around, we're having to dip into that contingency, when I don't really feel it's for that. I think that, and if worse comes to worse, maybe we should maybe the board, we should have a work session prior to the budget, so we can all to collectively identify some of the areas that we need to address, or that, you know, at least be on the same page as to what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. The way I look at it is that we're at the end of the year.
Mhm.
If we needed the money earlier in the year for some emergency or some unanticipated, it would have been there. But we're running out of time now. I mean, we're not running out of time, we're running out of calendar.
Mhm.
And the money is in the contingency, and we'd like to see it get spent, not sit in the bank, and get the things that we need to get done. So,
Okay, I don't have a problem with getting the things done. It's bothersome though to bring a committee in, and, I mean, it's uncomfortable for me as a committee member. I think maybe next year we would like to participate more as a work session or something prior to that, so we can see, and maybe some of the board members, along with your staffing, can foresee some of these things and include it in the budget, so that we don't have to do contingency resolutions throughout the year.
okay, we'll keep that in mind, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
But I just want to give credit to Dina and Jason and Tracy for actually spending a lot of time this past year going through list after list and collating and sorting and coming back and forth. This is where our priorities are. So at least in the office, we think we have a pretty good handle of where, you know, for the coming year, where that money is gonna be going. Things change, I mean, you know, we get, things come up, we don't, you know, we know that parking lots are gonna get striped. It's just, we just know that, they're gonna get striped at some point. This is part of the ongoing maintenance of being a large
Well,
facility.
I fully understand that, I do understand that, but we can anticipate doing the striping and put that into facilities. We can, and we can anticipate rebuilding that building and putting that into facilities without coming back. I mean, it didn't need to be done, you didn't discover that just last week, or whenever you put this resolution together.
Some of it did get discovered. You know, what happened was I mean, I had a meeting with Jolie at Moe's, and then it was like, oh, you know, we had Moe's inspected. And we had a meeting with Jolie, and like we were down there, I was like, you know, this needs more attention. So sometimes you're right, we can anticipate stuff, but sometimes the priorities shift. Sometimes, you know, your thinking changes on what the priorities are. I'm happy to put more money, less money in contingency, and start out with more money in facilities. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah,
in
well,
the
maybe
next budget
next year
cycle.
we can all talk
Yeah,
about
I really
that.
truly don't have a problem with
Get a
that.
little bit cleaner handle on that.
Yeah.
Is this maintenance stuff and the striping, is that stuff that staff is doing, or is this put out to bid?
That would be, the striping we put out to bid.
What happens to the $50,000 budget expense we have for Moe's next year? We're putting 20,000 of it.
That's in next year's budget.
I know, does this offset the 50,000?
No, this is minor stuff. This is,
I think there was a list that he gave us.
there was. There was, that list, the list that we discussed was professionally done. It was done by a professional inspector. We had to come in and do a punch list for us. So we weren't making that up. It was an objective survey of what needs to be done at Moe's. This is more getting the resurfacing the gangway and painting the gangway and painting the front area. So it's more minor stuff. It's not stuff that would have been on that big list. So this is not, none of this will offset the 50 grand that we'll be spending next year for Moe's.
I think another problem I have with this, Stephen, and you know where I'm going, is we asked you for at least some numbers to replace the roofs on the blue buildings, and nothing's ever been presented to us. I personally asked you to look at the gutters and the loose steel blowing around on the top. I mean, we have to have another $20,000 to do that?
Well, we'll get you numbers for the roofing was very, very expensive to replace the roofing, and the guys are working on getting a dry period of time when they get up on the roof and make some repairs.
Well, I mean, it's,
But those will be done in-house, and those are anticipated to be done in-house.
okay.
No?
And I'd move we approve resolution number 51717A, appropriations to transfer $20,000 from contingency to facilities and materials and services.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution. Is there any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Moving on to item number 8, a discussion of the FEMA grant for Sea Row erosion project. You want to address that, Terry, or do you want me to?
Either or.
Go ahead.
Ron and I had an opportunity to meet with project engineer and manager Luskin a week ago,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago maybe, before the last, since the last meeting. We were able to ask questions. I know I asked enough questions on my own behalf, and without talking to Ron about them, I'd like to share my opinion of the project with the commissioners. I'm only 20%. So the first thing I would say is, just like a dentist, we need a second opinion. And I'll tell you why. I sat in here with Ron and stated that I felt that the water causing the damage was 100% off of the parking lot. The engineer stated he said, it is not, it's caused 100% by the river, the damage. And I said, you're gonna sit here and tell me it's all caused by the river? Oh, 100% of it's caused by the river. Okay, fine. And Ron will tell you, got a little heated at that point. So by the time we get out there, I showed him my side of it. He looked at me and said, you're half right. Half the damage is caused by the parking lot and the other half is caused by the river. That was in a 5-minute conversation I had with him on the project. I got him to go from 100% saying it was damaged by the river to agreeing with me that it was half caused by the parking lot, half caused by the river. I'm not an engineer, I don't profess to be, but common sense can tell you, you can look at it yourself and make your own determination. For the next portion, I asked, where does it start? Well, we're not sure where the project's gonna start because it depends upon the line with Saxon. Where is it gonna end? Well, we're not sure where it's gonna end because we got woody debris to place there. And that's exactly how it was presented to me. We're not sure. I said, well, where does it end? Well, somewhere right down here. You're asking me to spend $50,000 of our money on maybe a $200,000 project, and the only compelling reason that the engineer could give me for doing this project was anytime you can get government money for 25 cents on the dollar, you need to take it. To me, it's fraud. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. And that's how I will vote on it. So, anything you'd like to add? Did I leave anything out?
No, I went out there and looked at the project, and what it basically is, the little cave in the upper part of one of the shoreline there, and you can very clearly see that the water has never reached up that high in the last probably 300 or 400 years, and that this was not caused by a storm or water damage. It was not undercut from underneath. It is definitely a cave in. Whether it was caused from water off the parking lot, I don't know, but it is not a major rebuild, and I feel that it would be a waste of our money to appropriate $50,000 for a project that I think we could fix within, I would say, a maximum of $5,000. Fix, repair the one spot, and go on with our normal business. That is my opinion. And what we will ask for tonight probably would be to eliminate the FEMA request and ask for a maybe not to exceed $5,000 to repair the one damaged spot.
I'm not sure I agree with you,
Okay?
because I think I would just as soon talk to the engineer also.
Okay. You're welcome to.
Have you visited the site, Nancy?
Yes, several times.
I can see nowhere where that water's gotten up there. You can see the vegetation clear to all the way up and down the bank that has grown year after year there. I can't see that the water ever went that high, in my opinion.
So we still don't know at this point where the project's gonna start or end
No.
because of the line?
Till there's a survey done.
So it could be a smaller project than anticipated to begin with. And we're still gonna get the 200,000?
It could not include the area in question that's eroded away that started this whole conversation. And that's exactly the way it was explained to me, Stephen. It could be one side or the other of that eroded area.
It's not determined where Saxon's line is yet. We're still working on that.
I still think we should just end it right now and make the repair and go on about business. Either that or we need to hire another engineer to give a second opinion.
You were there the whole conversation with the engineer?
I was there and Terry was there, yes, we were both there together.
So he originally said 100% was from the river,
Oh, believe me, it got, yes.
and then after discussion decided that.
After a 5-minute discussion, he looked at me and said, Terry's 50% right. Well,
And he's trying to say the water came up from underneath. There's no sign of the water ever being in the vegetation there that I could see.
So you're talking vegetation on the top?
on the slope,
On the slope, down to the water's edge.
you got blackberries growing in the water.
Yeah, down to the edge, and then there's sand, and then the river was below that. It was not I was not there at high tide, but even a super high tide, another 5 or 6 feet would have made no difference, in my opinion.
Well, I think that it ought to stay on hold until we get the survey done.
What are we using back there in the sea row? What are we doing with it? Is it still blocked off to the public?
I see that part of it has been opened, it looked like. So,
Think you've opened up 6 campsites?
5 or 6.
That's along
yeah.
the river side there.
That's right. On
But,
Sea-
I mean, in your opinion, Terry, how easy can that be fixed? I mean,
Oh, I firmly believe that, not that I would have an opportunity to bid, and I'm not looking for that, but it's a $5,000 fix at most. And you're talking about an area that's not as big as our blue table here that needs some rock in it.
yeah.
So you're suggesting what the engineer is proposing then for, what was the price, 200,000?
200,000 with a 75% contribution from FEMA.
Okay. So what they would do would be roughly the same as putting $5,000 or $10,000
No,
into it?
no.
Oh,
You're gonna have several hundred feet of rock riprap.
So we're gonna lose ground.
You will lose ground. You'll lose up to 30 foot in width of that back parcel there. It will be, because the
From-
bank's 10 foot high, it's gotta be a 2-to-1 slope laid back.
That's
and
north to south,
Yes,
losing 30
you're
feet
losing
from the
30
river.
You're losing 30 foot of usable ground that there will now be a riprap, nice pretty rock slope.
yeah.
Well, I'm losing some confidence in the recommendations from the engineer, based on what I'm hearing. And at the very least, I wouldn't wanna go forward with it, without a different engineer's perspective.
I mean, do we even need an engineer?
Not if we decide just to drop the project and fix it ourselves. I mean, we need whatever the commission decides they need, I guess is the right way to put that. No, if we're gonna move on with the FEMA project, then I would suggest we get a different engineer, get another opinion. If we're just, if the problem isn't coming from the river and it's coming from the water, which I've been down there too and seen it when it's raining heavy, and I can see it running off just as well as anybody can. I don't know if it's got material underneath it, or if it's got fabric underneath, or what, but it is definitely running out. But the scope of my knowledge is just what I said in terms of what needs to be done. But I'm just losing confidence in the recommendations from engineering. That's where I'm at. And if we can fix it for $5,000 or $10,000 without losing any additional property, then I'm not convinced that that's not a good thing to do.
Well, I know it's been that way for 45 years that I can remember, and we haven't lost anything but a little spit right there,
One little spot.
one little spot.
Goodness knows we can do a lot more with that $45,000 or $40,000.
Yes, we
We can do a
could.
lot of different things with Mo's or,
Restroom.
yes.
Yeah,
just-
that'd be great if we get another restaurant in there.
Yeah, I think I'd agree to fix it ourselves.
I stated my piece, I'm only 20% of the vote.
Yes.
So-
I give you my 20%, or at 40. But I'm not an engineer, but I do have some common sense.
I mean, this isn't a project where we need an engineer's approval in order to
No.
do this, any
No.
excavation
Have to
contractor
have
could
permits
come
or
in.
something?
We don't need any permits to make the repair.
Because it's
The
out of
way
water.
I understand it, it's about out of water, it's on our property.
Does that sound right, Stephen? We don't need any permits if we do it ourselves?
No, I think we'll still need permits. I think we'll still at least need a city permit.
A city permit?
I think we'll at least need a city permit.
Is that the one
That's the one that's currently pending.
that's hard to get, or it's gonna be,
Well, it's the one that's currently pending.
okay.
Why do we need a city permit?
We're under the jurisdiction of the city. And
And we've always needed that.
yeah,
Well, if we use our own money, we may need that.
I placed a lot of rock for a lot of people inside the city without permits.
Well, we'll just have to double check on that. Maybe the size of it makes a difference too, Terry. I don't know. But that'd be Stephen's responsibility
To keep us out of trouble. I mean, I don't think we need a city permit. I mean, we hire a licensed contractor, you know, that's, has a business license in the city of Florence. It's about the only jurisdiction they're gonna have over it. And I may be wrong there, but I mean,
Yeah, well, that's not an issue. We just have to.
No.
deal
No,
with
it's
it.
not
Deal
an
with it.
issue. The issue
Just
is
have to
what to
whatever we
do,
have to
make the repair or continue on with the grant.
Well, I'd say make the repair. Use the money that we're gonna put in the matching thing for something that's,
well, we all sat and listened to the budget committee, and our biggest dilemma is where we were gonna come up with the matching money and how we were gonna fund this project from the get-go. And we all agreed that it's gonna be hard to to put the money, we have to pay for the repair up front. We'll take all our contingencies for next year and pay for the repair up front and then get reimbursed by FEMA. I mean, to me, it's just another problem you don't need. If I thought the project needed, if I thought the soil was being eroded away, it's not. And that's my personal opinion.
I think I agree with you, Terry.
Somebody wanna propose a motion? Or do you wanna table it and get a second opinion?
How about leave it until after the survey's finished, so that we know where the whole project, I mean,
I don't-
where
yeah, I
our
don't have-
property is.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the survey regardless, right?
Yes,
Yeah, the survey is
it's
gonna be done.
set, but it's just not done yet. I'd like to wait until that's
I
done.
don't have a problem with that.
I don't either. The survey's isn't an issue with what we're talking about, but I
Part
don't
of
have,
it could be.
Could?
I don't know.
Well,
If
survey
we pass
could.
that,
The area that is eroded away might not even be on our property. And that was stated by the
maybe we better
engineer.
not fix it then.
That's what I'm saying. We're sitting here trying to fix a problem that we may not even own.
Oh,
We may own it, and he specifically said, we looked at where the north-south line would go through there, and it's a guessing game. But honestly, if I was an engineer that laid out this project, I probably would have done a little bit more homework and pulled some numbers.
Yeah.
Some, you know, and said, yeah, it's gonna come through right here.
Do we have a survey in the works, Stephen?
we do.
So what motion do we have to
we don't.
not go on with the project
Just
with
none.
FEMA?
Yes, that's what I think we should end that project, but we can, I don't know if we paid the engineer money already up front, have we?
We paid the engineer $10,000.
$10,000. I don't wanna pay him any more.
He's has another another 10,000 in billing out.
So he's done about
He's
20
been-
grand worth,
to-
20 grand worth of work for us?
He's done about 20 grand to do the engineering, to do the FEMA application, to do the state application, to do the core permit, and to deal with the city.
Was the 20,000 included in the total cost that we sent to FEMA? In which case you
Yeah,
only
that
have
was part-
30,000 left to come up with?
Well, his cost is reduced as well, right, by 75%. So it's all, we own,
his real cost to us, if we continue with FEMA, is $6,000, not 20.
Alright, so it's a $200,000 cost, and we're gonna have to pay the whole thing up front, and then get reimbursed for it. That's how it works? Yeah, that's,
Well, I think we talked about having to take all our contingency and put towards
Yeah.
that. That would be broke.
well, I don't know if we broke, but it's not gonna be,
Right.
it's an uncomfortable feeling, but I think their budget is sufficient to cover whatever those kinds of things are. The question is whether it really needs to be done. And after all this going through, our engineers maintained the whole time that it's all coming from the river. So, in the beginning, we bought into it. Then,
Yeah, we not only bought into it, he wanted to put mats down
Yeah.
in the river, and all of a sudden now, as we progress during the project, is now it's just gonna take care of it by putting wrap on the shoreline.
Because that's a difference in what you're allowed to do, because with the Corps and all of the other regulations.
I understand that, but there was no point to put that stuff in the river in the first place, because it wasn't caused by the river as far as I can tell. So we really didn't need any in-water work anyway, so I don't know,
Let's just table it until after the survey.
okay?
I don't know.
So I'm fine with that. Everybody else?
Well,
Okay,
I think we need to have, you need to put the engineer on hold to no more billing. I mean,
yes.
time stops. Cause it won't unless you do that. And I
But it
think he
sounds
needs
like we're on
to,
the hook for another 10,000 already.
yeah, well, he's already done the work, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that part's not his fault. It's,
No.
I mean, it's, I don't know what, it isn't a matter of fault, it's just a matter of not having enough information.
on
And-
his part.
Well, you know, it's, I don't wanna, it's not a finger pointing thing, it's just that somehow or another, there was some communication, something, for him to say 100% yes, and then in 5 minutes change his mind to 50, that's a little bit unusual. But nevertheless, he's put the work in, we're on the hook for 10 grand, we shouldn't do any more until the decision is made what it is we're gonna do. And apparently we don't know what we're gonna do until we find out what we own. Which
Right,
certainly makes sense.
I thought I just heard we're on the hook for 20 grand.
Well, we already paid
We've already
10,
paid
yeah.
10, we're on hook for another 10.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Wait till you see the survey. Doesn't
Okay.
change my opinion, but that's fine.
Okay. We're gonna table that and move on to the next item, which, once again, is our public comment period, which will be limited to 15 minutes, 5 minutes per speaker. Is there anyone that would like to speak?
I'd like to say something.
Mr. Saxon?
I'm just gonna, little common sense.
Sure.
You're already out 20,000, so it sounds to me like you'd be out 30,000 more for your share. Is that right or wrong?
To finish
If we
it?
approve
Yeah.
Yes,
it.
finish it. So you're only out 30,000.
Yeah.
Not only that, if you do table the whole thing, I would say if you take all your boom logs you got and tie them to the piling along there, you'll start gaining ground back again.
Probably.
And your erosion, most of it will be gone because it'll start silting in behind it.
I can't see any erosion personally.
No, but if you do,
Yeah.
the boom logs will start bringing back sand to
Bring
you.
back sand.
That's the two things I was gonna
Bring
say.
us more land, yes,
If you table the other thing.
yes.
Do you see an erosion issue there caused by the river?
I didn't walk down there because I don't believe in going on somebody else's property.
You own the property.
Not in front of your place.
No, not excess, yeah.
So if you want me to go down and look at it, I'll look at it.
Yeah.
But I do know boom logs will start bringing your sand back.
Yes,
And you're already out 20,000, so you're really only gonna go 30,000 more if you do the whole project.
yeah.
So I would think about that
Yeah,
anyway.
but we're gonna lose land if we do the whole project. And-
Maybe unless they, now Duman is a authority on this, but
Yeah.
if you started your rip route out a little farther and start filling back in, will they let you do that? You sure?
probably-
You gotta go to the mean high water mark.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So I
so
mean, we
that's,
have a definite start point.
that's the two things I would think about before you cancel out or.
All right, thanks, Don. Mr. Sweeney?
Yeah, somebody left their glasses like that. First of all, this, project out here is, based on a application to FEMA on monies that were set aside specifically, okay, for flood damage. And everybody knows that it was not caused by flood damage. And bottom line, makes it a fraudulent FEMA application. You do not have to go to the city to ask permission or get a permit to do any of this work. You guys have the power, and you know you do, to fulfill everything the city requires. The permits from Fish and Game, the forestry, NOAA, all those people have told the city the same thing that they have told you when it was first engineered for bulkhead repair. Now, bulkhead repair, nothing's getting done in the bulkhead at all. Fraudulent FEMA application. And if FEMA investigates it, you'll all be in trouble. Thank you.
David. Anybody else wish to speak? Hearing none, I am going to adjourn the meeting at 8:07, and we will go into executive session. And somewhere here, I will,
Need a resolution? Or just the
Well,
info?
is it a resolution or a motion?
It's just a motion.
Oh,
Yeah.
have we got?
It's right here, sale of properties, tax lot 1445.
I move that we accept the city's offer of the purchasing the port property, tax lots 1400 and 4500, and for the offer of 27,500 for these two parcels of land, which will include recognition of the Port of Siuslaw's support without further responsibilities or obligations, as well as the 90-day pending period during which we will complete an environmental assessment, obtain a hazardous materials report, and conduct a real property survey before closing. Additionally, the city will pay for the title insurance as well as 50% of all closing, escrow, and recording costs.
do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. We're adjourned again.
Okay. Everybody enjoy the roadie weekend.
Yep.